Fred, you got to stop that QAnon shit, like Bob said.
Oh,
But hey, Bob, quick question. I got a few quick questions. What led you to signing Tyson Fury? Being that Tyson Fury seemed to be a character no different than what you found in Andy Ruiz and letting Andy Ruiz go. What led you to signing Tyson Fury, or did Tyson Fury and his team come to you?
They made, or somebody made a connection. It's always that way. That Fury was interested in an American promoter. He wanted to come over and fight in the United States, and somebody would give him a big platform and so forth. So I think they came to us, or we may have made an overture to them. I don't know precisely why, but I realized that this guy was larger than life and had a tremendous personality that would capture the interest of a lot of people. Besides, this was after the Wilder fight, that he had demonstrated, tremendous ability in that fight. So I knew I had a pretty good fighter and a great personality. And I talked with my friends at ESPN, and they signed up for it. And that's why we did it. Now, Andy Ruiz was promoted by us, I think, almost all of his fights. And then they came to us and they said that they wanted to get, because the contract was ending, and they were very honorable people, and they wanted much more money that I was prepared to offer. So I said, go get yourself another promoter, and good luck. But again, they were totally honorable. They're great people. The father, Andy, I love Andy, great personality. But he, again, Andy doesn't have the personality that Tyson does. And the truth is, he doesn't have the same ability, although he has a lot of ability, as he showed.
Yeah, Reg.
All right, and here I got a real touchy kind of question as it relates to race in the sport and the need for a white champion, the white hyping in the sport. How prevalent is that in the sport? And did you guys find that as a need for Tyson signing Tyson Fury, being that kind of within America, well, segment of America, America's not a white country, but being the segment of America has always dreamed and lived for a white champion. How big of a part did that play into you guys signing Tyson Fury and, the prospects of him becoming a white champion that's been kind of non-existent within the sport for a number of decades?
Absolutely, it played no part. I mean, I really, no part. We knew he was a good fighter. We knew that he could hang in there, that he had a great personality. We didn't pay him any signing bonus. We put him in fights that were largely financed by ESPN. And then we arrived at what is the second Wilder fight that we promoted. And believe me, he could have been green, he could have been purple, didn't matter. Why should it even matter? And the truth is, I would really bet that in the United States, Tyson has more fans of color than he has white fans.
All right. And is that a big factor? Do you still see that as a factor in the sport, to where the sport beckons to look for more white champions while marginalizing the black fighters? I see that a lot, and I kind of feel that from some of the sanctioning bodies. What are your thoughts on Mauricio Suleiman? There seems to be a lot of all over the board when it comes to Mauricio Suleiman. There seem to be no rhyme or reason and no structuring in that sanctioning body. What are your true thoughts on him, or is that a little bit of a conflict that you can't answer that one honestly? And then,
whatever you say about Mauricio Suleiman, and yeah, they act in the self-interest of the organization, and maybe they favor certain fighters. But you have to understand there is not any racism involved. Look at my career in boxing, virtually all of my major fighters have been black, from Ali to Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, other than the fact that recently the Spanish fighters have made a mark. You've got Canelo, one of the biggest attractions in boxing, and I promoted Oscar De La Hoya and some other Hispanic fighters. But most of the fighters that I promoted through my career have been African American fighters. And I think that's the case for every fight. There are so few white fighters, white American fighters in the United States, that they really are not a factor. And the white kids that you see fighting are generally Eastern European kids. And let me tell you, without any question, the black kids are more popular than the Eastern European kids. Most of whom, though, is a language problem and so forth. So the fact that believe me, the one thing that is not true in boxing is racism.
Yeah, it's hard for me to believe that one. And my last one, man, coming into this thing about AJ wanting to fight you guys, and for the half a decade that he avoided Deontay Wilder when he held the belt, and now he's seems to be so enthusiastic about going after this Tyson Fury fight. How big of a coward does that make Anthony Joshua look in this situation of him avoiding becoming undisputed against one dangerous champion, and now so open and willing to taking on this challenge against Tyson Fury? Could it be that he finds Tyson Fury is a lower risk of embarrassment, or is there a true level of fear that he had in Deontay Wilder? Does Deontay Wilder own some parts of Anthony Joshua's heart?
All right, let me tell you something. There's one word that I can answer you, and I'll spell it. Money. The Joshua Fury fight will earn each of the guys close to $100 million. Each of the guys. It is the biggest fight in history in the UK. In history, not even close. Around the world, it is the biggest fight that people want to see. Now, true in the United States, because Joshua doesn't mean crap in the United States, doesn't mean that much. But around the world, the big fight is Joshua and Fury.
Yeah, I can't agree with that 100 million, but I feel you on that, Bob. But you also was the same guy that thought Macau was going to be a great market for boxing, and it turned out not to be that. And also your fellow guy, I know you probably don't like him, Sheldon Addison passing, so I don't know how you feel about that. But I'm up out of here. But I'll listen to the question on the way out.
Yeah, you want to respond to Macau?
Macau was a great market in boxing.
Okay.
And then we were scheduling to do a whole series of fights there, and then we got the pandemic, and obviously they shut us down, and nobody does anything.
Gotcha.
So you can't judge anything. You know, Macau is a tremendous market, and again, they do fights on a Sunday. We could do fights on a Sunday morning, which is prime time back in the United States. No, and Macau, once they're up and running, you better damn well we'll be back there doing fights.
Gotcha.